Hey YouTubers, if you find yourself with a bunch of screenshots and visual reminders in your photo collection, be sure to watch this video in full because that is what we're talking about right now. I'm Caroline from organizingphotos.net, and I have organized so many cluttered photo collections that I just had to make a video on this topic. And of course, we also have a blog post on this that I'll be sure to link below this video in the show notes. So make sure that you take a moment and stop by and read that in full once you're done with this. Before we jump in, take a moment to subscribe to this channel if you want more videos like this, and ring the bell so that you get notifications every time I post something new. All right, enough about that. So in another video, I talked about the 8 types of photos that you can delete from your camera roll right now. And the number 1 category are visual reminders. And the reason for that is because it is just so common. Everybody does it. That's okay. It happens, but we're going to try not to let it happen too much. I'll do this sometimes and not even realize that I'm doing it. The most common culprit is something in my pantry that is over that I want to replenish. And the second is probably wish list items that I don't quite have the money to buy yet, but I want to make sure I remember them when I do have the cash for it. So that is the type of stuff I'm thinking about. So if we can find a different way of keeping those reminders, that is a much better way to go about it. We actually do the same thing in our regular non-digital lives. Visual reminders are so powerful. So if I were to walk into your kitchen right now, would I see a bunch of bills lying on the counter? And they might be there because you want to remember to pay them, right? Or if I walked into your office, would I see a bunch of Post-it notes somewhere? That's why that stuff works, because we see it and we remember. So visual reminders actually do work. The problem when we get to the digital is that we don't naturally walk by it. It's intangible, so we don't tend to see it again. And then because we don't delete them right away, they go onto the camera roll, they go into our photo collection, and then it becomes more work to get rid of them. So now you got more maintenance to do. And for what, right? So let's change that. Let's do some behavior modification. I think the key to reducing this type of digital clutter isn't to stop the behavior itself, because note-taking is a really good practice, right? It's a really good thing to do. You want to take notes. You want to make sure you remember things. We just need to modify the way in which you do it. So we just need to figure out what is the best note-taking system that will let you take notes in an easy way, in a good way, and that you can actually use. So I have 2 suggestions for you. And again, these are just suggestions. There are many other ways to do this out there. So do a little research and see what works for you. But I'm just sharing these 2 because they're so popular. Number 1 is the Notes app. So if you have an iPhone, the Notes app already comes built into your phone. And that is a specific system that is meant for reminders. So it's natural that you would use it for that. And if you go into the setting of the Notes app, you're able to control whether the photos that you take with the Notes app are actually going to get pulled into your Apple Photos library. So I like the Notes app because it's actually very intuitive, it's simple, very basic, and easy to use. I usually recommend having a couple of categories that are pretty broad. So I have to buy, to do, and to research. And of course, you can create categories as you see fit, but I have found that if I need a visual clue, it usually belongs in one of these 3 categories. So again, make that your own and go with it. And then once you have those categories set up, go into the settings for the Notes app. And that's the little cogwheel, and then click on Notes. And then towards the bottom, there'll be an option for you to either save to Apple Photos, the photos that you take in this app, or to not save them. So you want to turn that off. And then that way you can open the Notes app, take a photo, it goes to that particular note that you're saving, but it actually doesn't flow into your Apple Photos library. And that way you're separating your reminders from your family memories. Easy, right? If you don't have an iPhone, again, there are similar apps on other types of phones that are out there, so just research what would work for you. Another thing that we see very, very commonly is WhatsApp, which is very popular throughout the world, especially for my international clients. The app itself is really, really great, but if you are in a lot of groups that post a lot of photos, you sometimes end up with a lot of digital clutter because you might not stop it right at the source. And fortunately, WhatsApp, just like many other apps, have a setting for that. And it'll ask you, do you want to pull the photos from this app into your Apple Photos library? And by saying no to that, you separate everything. And that saves you a whole lot of deleting. You can still save individual photos to your camera roll manually when you want to, but that choice will be entirely yours and it won't happen automatically. So those are two examples of ways that you can do this. If there are apps that you frequently use where you see a lot of digital clutter like that come in, go ahead and check in the settings for that app if there's a way to prevent that from happening, because stopping things at the source is what keeps your sanity and saves you a whole lot of time at the end. So I hope that was helpful to you. Again, that was just two suggestions. There are many more out there. Go ahead and visit my blog over at organizingphotos.net for more suggestions just like this. We have a very extensive library that you can scroll through and read all about it. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and ring the bell to get notifications when I post a new video. All right, I will see you next time.